to react to a Asmongold stream. And this one hit really, really hard in the personals. For me personally. And I've been waiting to kind of do this video since I saw it. And I've just been, consumed with other things. And this really hits it hard. And when there's something, let me share the experience. The experience is like when you think about something in your thoughts, and I know there's a lot of people that don't have an inner monologue. I'm sorry. We're going to try that, and we're going to check it out and see where we're at. By the way, this is station identification.
Let me show them some fancy action now.
Got people talking in my group chat. Got the Game Bros in the group chat. All right, there you go. The camera's not bad. I can live with it. Got people talking in my group chat. Yeah, oh my God, did we hit it lucky? I think we hit it lucky. I think we're like crooked in the sense of we're not as straight as we could be, but we'll do that and we'll see what happens. So, at any rate, listen. There's sometimes you have thoughts that regularly, they're like philosophical thoughts about life. Like you think about life and how life works, and we're all just like experiencing the 3D video game, IRL, in our own way. Okay, we're all kind of just experiencing this in our own way. And we're all just trying to figure it out. Is it a simulation? Is this the only reality? Is this hell? Is this a limbo? Some people call it like a college or a school. Or I forgot to like this video. So a lot of times I'll watch Asmongold content. And he'll kind of go into a stream of consciousness, especially when he's talking about himself and the reality of his life, before he became wealthy, before he became famous. And some of it's quite poignant, if I could use that word. And some of it I identify with, because I kind of had a crazy mother who I was a caregiver for, and it, drained the life out of me for a lot of years taking care of her. And it was extremely difficult and very challenging. Being a caregiver is brutal. It is extremely hard on you, and you can wind up being the one who needs care at the end of that situation. And that was very similar to me. Like I had a major medical crisis right after my mother, like, kind of in the midst of her going into assisted living, and then getting kind of declining into dementia, and the whole thing. I mean, getting late night calls. She'd be in a panic. She couldn't breathe, and she was having trouble. Her lungs were failing, and it was I was the only one. There was no other family. Nobody else was around to help me out. So it was kind of like I felt very alone in dealing with it at times. So we parallel in that regard. As my mom had a stroke, and then she had low oxygen, and she went to go into like dementia and delusion, and I was like, oh man, wow. So it was extremely challenging to deal with. So what I would say is that he strikes upon a concept that I think a lot about. And because I've had like a lot of really serious challenges to face in the back half of my life versus the front half. And the front half of my life, I had challenges too, but I didn't know what I was in for, going forward. And nobody warned you about this. Nobody says, hey, your mom who's going to be divorced and she's going to move you to Florida, and there's not going to be any family around, and there's going to be nobody to take care of her. You're going to be the one taking care of her, and this is what it's going to entail. And it's just basically going to, it's going to suck all your time and energy, and it's going to make you sick it's like nobody talks to you about this kind of stuff. Nobody warned you about it. It's just kind of thrust upon you, There's a saying I like very much, like, some men are born great, some men rise to greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. And I think it works in the reverse as well. Sometimes you have these life challenges thrust upon you, and it ruins your plans, and it wrecks the pace of your life, and it's not what you signed up for, and the brutal reality of taking care of a sick parent, et cetera, is that's a harsh reality. I'm just like endlessly adjusting here. There you go. Should be okay. So what he strikes up, and one of the philosophies that I follow is that's been very helpful to me in dealing with life's challenges is stoicism. And I think stoicism is a philosophy that's very accessible. It's very simple. It's very good for men, but it's the lessons are good for men and women as well. But there are certain little sayings that float around. Amor fati, which is love your fate, which means like you're born into a fate. Like the Stoics believe that your destiny was written before you were born, and that you're born into a certain fate, and you shouldn't spend your time complaining about like your situation. You should just be the best at whatever the situation is. So it doesn't matter if you were born a slave. In Stoicism, they'll actually teach this. In certain of the philosophers will teach this. If you're born a slave, then be a good slave. Because in the time of the Stoics, you could be a good slave. You could earn your freedom. You could literally buy your way out with work, and slaves actually did earn a stipend. And you could literally buy your way out or be sponsored by your owner or by somebody else. You could serve in the military for 20 years. Then you could hold public office, and you could literally rise to become a Roman senator back in the day. The social mobility was there, but it all depended upon you. So you could be born into slavery and earn your way and work your way by just being excellent at everything that you did and rise to the highest ranks of the society. And we see that today. I mean, it's the same thing. Asmongold is a case in point. I mean, he was, down in the working class folks, divorced, the whole thing. And I went through the exact same thing. I was born to working class people, and I wound up owning my own business, educating myself to a high level, wound up but part of it is like, I just told you like some of the difficulties of like being a caregiver and all these things, but I've also faced some of the most difficult life challenges, that being one of them, and overcome them. Now, it almost put me in the grave. It almost killed me. I've had to recover my health after my mother passed. I had to like start taking care of my own health, and I had to change my diet and exercise more. And make sure I took time out to enjoy some hobbies and walk a lot and go out in nature and, play with the dog and, have, conversations with my neighbors and like rediscover like, hey, just caring for somebody who's dying isn't the only thing in life. There's a lot more life going on out there. So what he says here resonated with me in the sense of the negative things in your life truly, if they don't destroy you, because they will leave their mark, they will do damage, they will leave their mark. But it is the most difficult things in life where I've had to abandon my selfishness, my whininess, my childishness. I had to sacrifice the things that I wanted to do and serve other people. And a lot of times when I really didn't want to, or I was exhausted, or I was tired, but I continued to meet my responsibilities and my obligations. That's a funny word there, obligation. And we've forgotten that in our society. Like, you are obligated to your community. You are obligated to your family members. You are obligated to help out your parents when they get sick. You are obligated to raise your kids. You are obligated, if you have children with the intention of raising children, you have to subordinate your own desires at that point. Like, once the kids come, you are not the priority. They are the priority. That's hard for a lot of people. It's impossible for a lot of people. And yet they still engage in procreating when they really shouldn't. So it's one of these things where, like, women with their happiness, your happiness is secondary to creating a family and raising the children. That is what it is to be an adult. To be an adult is to fulfill your obligations. You have obligations to people. You have obligations to family members. You have obligations in the workplace. You have obligations to your culture, to your country, to your community. You have obligations as an adult. Being this Peter Pan kid, little kid forever, and I was there too. I was like, I had awful Peter Pan syndrome going into my late 30s, my middle and late 30s, when you need to aggressively destroy that shit and understand that the next 20 years of your life are building a retirement, building a career, raising kids, obligations to a spouse, obligations to your children, obligations to your parents as they begin to age, again, obligations in your community. It's all obligations. And we extend the youth of our young people way too far, way too long, way too far. You need to start like at like 21, at like 20 to 22. You need to put that kid shit up. It's over. You are a functioning adult. You can go to war. You can kill for your country. You can vote and make decisions in the community. You have obligations at that point. The rest of your life from that point is And I know that doesn't sound like cool and romantic and fun and all the rest of that shit. You know what? Fun is like happiness. You occasionally have fun. You're not supposed to wake up and have freaking fun every day. What? You are not supposed to wake up and have fun every day. Some people do. Some people have a career where they're like, or a job or whatever they do, and they get up and it's fun. And I think you should incorporate fun. But that's secondary to the obligation of what needs to be done for yourself, for your job, for your family, for your kids, for your community, what have you. You know, I love having fun. I love playing video games. I love live streaming. I love doing all this stuff. But it comes second to other things that need to be done and addressed. Even taking care of pets. You have an obligation to that animal because you are assuming total responsibility for that pet. People have a problem with that too. It's gross. But this guy made a tragic mistake. He made a tragic mistake. And he went low on Asmongold. He insulted his home, his appearance, his hygiene, and all the rest of it. And Asmongold takes it pretty well. And he's actually cleaned up. He's grown up. He's getting his teeth fixed. He's investing back into himself. And he really could, but he's got his own priorities, which he's entitled to. And he has the money to go and get the hair implants, like the good ones, like in Turkey or Thailand. Austin probably does them too, but anyway, there's a lot of people that do that kind of thing better than the United States. Turkey's one of them. Thailand's one of them. Thailand has some of the best plastic surgery in the world because they do it so often. They have the best facilities, and they're very reasonable too. Not that he needs to worry about that, but the thing about Asmond is he has the money and he's getting his teeth fixed. And, he's improving his situation and he's cleaning his area and he's focusing on himself in his 30s because to me, it seems like his late 20s was caregiving for his mother and managing their financial situation, which was terrible, right? Poor. He was poor. And now he is an extremely wealthy man. This man's into the 100 millions. This man is a 100 millionaire. He's not like just a millionaire. This guy's into the 100 million. Okay, this guy's, and he's one of the most productive people I've ever seen. He is a effing machine. It's just a constant stream of content, and it's good. And I watch more and more Asmond, and I'm as surprised as you. I mean, I'm like, wow. I mean, I watch this guy all the time. But what I want you to do is I want you to listen very closely to him defending himself to this man. And he gets into the stoicism of it and how he handled his situation before he got big and why he lives the way he lives. And he lives a very stoic lifestyle. He lives in where he's comfortable, and it isn't about the ostentatiousness of his asmontatiousness of his dwelling. He's comfortable where he's at. He's successful, wildly successful where he's at. But this average white man here goes in on him, and it's all low blows. He has a very high voice too. It's like some of these men that want to talk tough shit, want to talk tough and want to talk down to others and how they live and what have you. And they're honestly, he's got a baby face, he's got a squeaky voice, and he doesn't have presence. He's quite whiny as well. It's quite immature and whiny. It's very feminine, if I could make that observation. But, listen to Asmongold's reaction to this man's commentary about his lifestyle. Let's take it. That was a long ass monologue. Thanks for hanging out. By the way, slice that like button if you like the content. You like talking about this kind of stuff.
Slice that like button.
Excellent example of Asmond discussing how negative experiences can be more developmentally impactful than success. Failure is far more instructional than success. One of the things I say to people when I do training, or I have done, is let yourself fail. Make failure be okay. Because there's an embarrassment with failure. There's a loss of status or a perceived loss of status with failure. And this guy goes right for Asmond's, like, his physical status, his appearance. He goes for the lowest common denominator, and he really screws himself and puts himself into a very bad light But let's go ahead and take a look.
This is the reality of life. And I understand, I can't imagine what it would be like to be a person like this that is constantly at war with reality. It must be so unpleasant and so upsetting. So upsetting, in fact, that you make a YouTube video because you get ratioed in a tweet. That's pretty bad.
On me because I roasted this guy.
You roasted
The guy
me.
lives alone
I've been
in
roasted.
filth
Yes.
with rotting teeth, cockroaches, and despite being this
And despite all of that, I still have a better grasp on reality than you do.
Right. Stop it right there. Did you hear this guy's voice? This man in the corner is in his 30s, right? You're starting to get the eye bags, you're starting to get the wrinkles. You're in your 30s, dude. And he's like, he lives in filth. His teeth are rotting. He lives in the cockroaches. He doesn't anymore. No, he doesn't. He actually cleans his area. He maintains his area. He doesn't live in filth. He showers regularly. He makes a joke about it because he used to be dirt poor. He used to be poor. Okay? And he pulled himself out of that poverty to outrageous success, and he owned his situation, which is a very stoic quality. Amor fati, love fate. He loved his fate, and it turned him into a 100 millionaire. This guy is a cash 100 millionaire. It's not tied up in real estate. Asmongold produces content like a freaking assembly line, like a machine. Yes, now he has a team of people helping him out, but he still has to go and like actually produce the content, which he produces fresh content, like multiple videos every day. I mean, it's just like he's a network unto himself. It's extremely impressive. The guy more than likely has a genius IQ. And everybody wants to call him dumb and an idiot and this and that and the other. And this guy's like mocking his teeth. And Asmon's getting his teeth fixed. He's pulling his shit together. He's decided, my dad died, my mom died, it's just me, and I'm in that same boat. I'm like, my mom passed, and to be honest, because she was suffering and my health was failing, it was a relief in that sense. I was sad to see her go. And when that happens, you become a little bit more lonely in the world. I don't know if you can express. I'm actually getting a little bit choked up. I don't know if you can actually express this, but when your parents die, it is like a gong ringing. It's like a bell tolling, because they created you and now they're gone. Do you realize how existential that is? Again, it's like when your parents die, you become truly alone. You become truly alone in the world. There's no more fall back, and or you get upset, or you had like something terrible happen. You can call them up. You can talk it out. They can reinforce you. You know that they're there, you know that they care about you or whatever. And I know there's a lot of people that don't even have the blessing of parents. And I feel for those people. But to have a parent, and I had a very limited contact with my dad, and my mother and my grandmother was my primary parent, and I really liked my grandmother far better. When my grandmother died, I was very upset. And then 5 to 10 years, I'd have to like think it out, but probably about 6 years later, my mother died. And I sat there, she went to hospice, and I combed her hair, and I sat, I'm getting choked up. I sat and I talked with her. And they're like, she's not going to make it through the night. This is it. And I said to myself, I'm like, now I'm really alone. That is the toughest thing. And it's very sad. But what happens is you're an adult, you're a grown up, and you soldier on because that's all you can do. You have to face down the reality of your own mortality through your parents' passing. And you have to get on with it. And then you have to decide, okay, I'm gonna be here. Not tomorrow, not the next day, most likely, but I'm gonna be here. What do you want to do with the rest of your time? What do you want to do? How do you want to live? Where do you want to go? Because you better start doing it, because your time is quite limited. And when your parents die, you really understand that on another level. Like, as long as your parents are alive, it just seems like things are just going to keep rolling on and rolling on and rolling on and rolling on. But they're not. So after that, I was still in the midst of a major health crisis. I got that resolved. I recovered. Got myself in shape, made a ton of changes in my life, how I eat, how I exercise, how I live, improved my health, got back in shape, and all the rest of it. And then I'm like, okay, what now? That's what life is. That is the main question of life. It's, okay, what now? When you have, and this is the last thing, and then we'll go back into the video. You can achieve a dream. The only problem is that, like, a lot of people never get to the dream, so they keep working toward the dream. If you achieve the dream, if you get the dream, all there is more dream. So you become a famous streamer. As long as you keep being that famous streamer, you're living the dream. But as soon as you get tired or wear out or get old or become irrelevant or get supplanted by some other personality or whatever it is, which will happen, you might do it for 10 years. You might do it for 20 years. You might do it for 30 years. But the day will come when you will have to do something else. The day will come when you're not going to be able to do it anymore. You're going to have a major medical crisis. Something's going to happen. Some accident is going to happen. You're going to get injured. Like, whatever. Something will happen, and it will change the trajectory of your life and bring you closer to that last day. It is going to happen. It is going to come. So if you're in the dream, let's say you're in the middle of this dream, like I had a dream of taking over a small business, a pet store that I was working at. And I was very, very close. He was like a second father to me, to the owner of that business. He was actually more my father than my real father was. And he taught me, how to be a man, how to do manly things, how to do carpentry, how to, repair, fluorescent lights, how to do this, how to do that. I mean, he taught me how to do a lot of stuff. He taught me how to be a man. I mean, the man I am today is based on what that guy taught me. And he wound up selling me that location, and I helped him set up another location where he actually owned the property and owned the building. And he put me in the old store, but it was in a big, like, open mall, like not like a strip mall, but like the next level up from a big strip mall, like it was in like an outdoor mall. And I ran it for 10 years, and it was a dream. And I got to live the dream, and I got to be my own boss, and I got to make really good money, and I got to drive the car I wanted. It was actually just a truck. It was a red step-side GMC. I got to drive that. I got to drive my dream car. I got to be with very attractive young women that were interested in me because I was successful as a young guy. I got to, be my own boss and not take, and I got to earn my own way. And I had business relationships, and I had, friends in the industry, and I won awards, and I got to live the dream. But at the end of 10 years of doing that, I was tired of my dream. I was sick of my dream. I was sick of going in and living the dream because it was just more dream. You could just keep going. My business was very, like, when I stopped doing business in that shop, it was because I just was tired of it. I was still successful. I was making money on my last day of business. I was making really good money. And I liquidated it, and I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to deal with that. I want to sell it all, and I just want to go do something else. And I went and got like a 9-to-5 job for like 8 years. Loved it. Got promoted. Got up to the executive floor. Became a marketing manager, marketing director. Then I got headhunted. Became a VP of marketing, and I had a corporate career after that. That was fun and interesting. But again, if you get the dream, there's just more of it. So what do you do then? How do you evolve? Boom.
So what does that say about you? I don't see how this is a good argument at all. It's just
None of it's a good argument. It's just low blows.
Generational wealth millionaire. This guy's probably worth 50 mil. I don't even know how much he's worth.
Wow.
It may be even 100
Wow.
mil.
100 mil.
Wow.
He lives in such a disgusting hoarder-like.
I live in the same working class home that I've grown up in.
Okay. I live in the same working class home that I grew up in. When I purchased a house, I could have bought a much bigger house than I currently live in, and it's too big for me now. And I'm selling it. And I'm going to downsize into like a condo, like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, probably a 2-bedroom condo, because that's all I need now. Like, my kid is raised. I'm not going to get like remarried and start another family. I don't want to do that. I went through that, and parts of it were good and parts of it were rugged. So it's like, what is wrong with him living in his family home? Nothing. Some people live their entire life in the same home. And in fact, that was the commonplace thing, regardless of earnings, regardless of their financial success, because they were part of the community and they were comfortable there, and there was no other place they felt more comfortable than that. This guy's going in for a low blow because he's like, you've got all this money, why don't you live in a big palatial house? Sometimes a big house can be the loneliest place in the world. I see people in these big empty homes and they just echo, and it's just, he doesn't live like a hoarder, bro. He doesn't live like a hoarder. But the thing of it is that, this guy is very low character. And this video was a mistake. And to be honest, the obvious envy of Asmon's success, because this guy just owns it, and he turned it into like a funny meme and a joke about being the Roach King, and the I knew what time it is because of the dead rat and all this other stuff. I mean, there's times that you will go through, especially when you're poor and you're being a caregiver, and you go through depression, you go through a lack of energy, you go through all of these things, and this guy's is merciless. I mean, he's just like the most generic white dude, looking at Asmon and holding in contempt, and just taking every freaking like low blow you possibly could, and it's really awful. It's just somebody of good character wouldn't make these kind of personal attacks. It would be beneath them to do it, whether they felt that way or not. It would be beneath them to do it. But this guy's going like both barrels, and he just got destroyed, man. He's getting destroyed. He got destroyed. But what Asmon says here, he's defending his, like, I live in my family home. It's a working class house. That's exactly the neighborhood I live in. It's becoming very upscale because it's an extremely sought after area. It's being gentrified by McMansions all over the place. But what I would say is it's mostly average folk. And I grew up in a neighborhood of working class, average folk, and that's where I feel comfortable. My realtor, one of them at the time, we parted ways because she said that I wasn't buying the house that was in line with my level of income and all this other shit. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want too much house. I don't want something huge that I'm barely in any of the rooms, and I have to heat it and cool it and decorate it and all this other shit. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I just want a very efficient use of space. And my house the current house I'm in is an exquisite use of space. It's everything you need, nothing you don't, and it's still too much for me. So I'm downsizing. Who the F is this guy? Who the F is this guy to say where somebody can live or where they want to live or where they don't want to live, bro?
I love this home. One day I might move. If I ever get a girlfriend and start a family, I'd buy a nice big house because I'd want my family to live in a nice house. This house is my life, but I'm not going to put my life on anybody else. I don't feel the need to express myself with lots of money. I know that I'm successful. I'm tremendously successful. I've been tremendously successful for...
I mean, when you say tremendously successful, this guy is at the top of the pyramid. He is at the peak of what he does. He is the best. He's the best. I mean, I don't know what you want. You say what you want. Part of his appeal is he's approachable. Part of his appeal is he's an everyman. Part of his appeal is that he has an intelligent way of he has an intelligent perspective. He has a way of communicating himself. He likes to engage with his chat. It's very funny. It's very entertaining, and I'm not fit to judge. I'm sitting here. I have a master's degree and I'm a successful guy and I've got, the car and the house and everything, it's just like, but again, I live in a neighborhood of working class people and I help them out and I do cut my own grass and I take care of my own house because that's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. I don't pay a guy to cut my grass. I cut it. Can I pay a guy to cut the grass? Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to do that. If I own the house, I want to work on the house. I want to maintain the house. And part of the reason I'm selling is because I don't want to. I've been in this house for 20 years, and I'm tired of constantly maintaining it. Houses are work; they have to be constantly maintained, and upgraded and improved and repaired and all the rest of it. And it's a lot of work, it's a lot of expense, and I just kind of want to be done with it. I've had the experience. I've owned the house. It's a beautiful house. I love this house. But it's too much house. I don't need this much house. It's not serving me anymore. It's not serving my lifestyle. So I'm going to change it. I mean, that's just how things go.
For over 10 years.
So what he's saying is he's saying the same thing. He's saying this house, I'm comfortable in it. It serves my life and serves my purpose. If my life changes, I will change the dwelling because the dwelling should serve the lifestyle. Period. This is grown men talking, not this whiny, bitchy, jealous guy here. This, low T
now,
count.
really. Yeah, I have a lot of money, but who cares? Really, who cares?
Oh, and when you're talking a lot of money, this guy is into the 100 million neighborhood. This guy is into the 100 million neighborhood. Yeah. I mean, this guy is outrageously successful.
Environment, or has for
By any measure. You talk about CEOs. This guy is blowing away most CEOs with his annual income. Blowing doors on him.
so long that it's hard not to question his sanity.
As a one,
It's hard not
kind
to
of a
question.
one-man
This
show.
This is the implication of me being mentally ill. Right.
And when you bring
He does cast aspersions that Asmongold is mentally ill. I would say that Asmongold skews into the autistic range, into the level of talent, and to the relentless production of content is not on an average person's level. I mean, he's not in the normal spectrum of productivity. He's outside of it, but he's on the good side of the bell curve. He's on the right side of the bell curve in terms of his level of productivity, in terms of his cognition level. It's extremely high. And a lot of people poke at him like he's dumb. And I'm like, where does that come from? I don't
bring
get
this
it.
up, it's like, well, you wish you had millions of dollars.
See, this is where, and I think, and I've heard this directed at Asmongold so many times. It's like, if you're rich and you live in a modest house in a room that's just got looks like you when you were a teenager, then you're stupid. If you aren't blowing huge wads of your money on a different image completely, then you're stupid. If you're not upgrading your entire life immediately because you have the money to do so, you're stupid. It's like, if you're not spending money, you're dumb. This guy's a genius. The thing of it is if he changes his image, even if he changes his background and the room he's in, he's going to lose a lot of his mystique. He should never sell this house. In fact, he should if he wants to go live in another house, he should drive into his house like he's driving to the job and broadcast every day from that room. It's part of who he is. It's part of his brand. He should do everything in the world to preserve that brand. If I were him and he moved into another house, if I were him, I would spend the money to recreate that room perfectly, point for point, as a studio space in the new house, so it looks exactly the same. Dead serious. Part of his appeal is this everyman get up wearing a freaking t-shirt, drinking out of a freaking 7-Eleven cup, and just like he appeals to that group of people, that income level of people, which is the vast majority of people.
Brothers, I wish that he didn't let the teeth rot from his mouth.
I don't.
Here we go.
My teeth rotting out of my mouth was the impulse that I had for streaming. So whenever I was 26, maybe 25, something like that, I went to the dentist and they told me that I had to, in order to get everything fixed, it was $50,000. I looked at how much money I was making on YouTube back then. I looked at how much money this would be, and I realized that I needed to make more money and I needed to dial things up. And a couple months later, I started streaming. And because of that, I built myself into where I was today. Now, if that never happened to me, maybe I would have been more comfortable doing something that was more low-key.
Stop it right there. So this terrible negative thing. People judge you over your teeth. Like, it's one of the most brutal judgments that we make in this world. If you have jacked up teeth, you are a social outcast. You are going nowhere. The number one thing everybody in Hollywood, especially in the United States, you travel outside the United States, and teeth and, you know, how good your teeth look is less of a priority. You can just kind of tell. And people just don't get shit fixed. It's not a priority for them. In the United States, the appearance of your teeth is especially important. And you are judged harshly. And it can be devastating to your self-esteem. For him in his situation, before he was successful, to have his teeth rotting out, gaps in his teeth, and being a young man at that point, that was devastating to his self-esteem. So he's like, the one thing I know how to do and I'm good at doing is you know, being on the PC, playing games, being in that community, and I can start live streaming. Just started to become a thing and really started to take off. He's like, this is something I can do. And he doubled down on it, and he tripled down on it, and he's still doing it. And he became the number one streamer on earth. And what he's trying to say is that it was the negative impetus. It was my self-esteem was devastated. I was too poor to get it fixed. I had to do something to fix my situation. And he looked outside the box. He looked around at his environment, and it was like, what can I do to generate some revenue, to increase my productivity, to earn some more money so I can get my face fixed, get my teeth fixed, and I can repair my self-esteem. That was the impetus for his success. And it was an extremely negative, very like people looking down on you, being a social outcast. That was his circumstance. And he has risen like a phoenix out of the ashes of that fire. So, and I can say this as well, is that I've had some of the most difficult experiences that anybody can face down, including diagnosis like you got 6 months to live. When a doctor sits you down, looks you in the face and goes, it doesn't look good. You got 6 months, maybe a year. Put your affairs in order and get care. Get some care immediately if you're going to live at all. That's a conversation that I actually had. That 6 months of you've got maybe 6 months was 3 years ago. Let's just say some of the most devastating experiences can be the most transformative in your life for success. And we live in a world of opposites. You have to, if you understand it, it's really the great secret of this life. The great secret is that life isn't good or evil, it's both. You have to integrate both to be successful. And you have to understand that when you're given a challenge, like you got 6 months to live, or your mother, you're the only caregiver that your mother has, and she's sliding into early onset dementia. When you're handed these challenges, they are a gift. They are a gift. Because if you rise to them, you rise to these challenges, you meet your obligations, you become an adult, you shoulder the burden, you make sure you try and take care of yourself as well, because these kind of situations can destroy you. The danger that these will destroy you, but they also make you transform and become a more advanced adult. And you wind up getting this mission time mindset that, okay, I'm facing this down today. Like Asmon, wake up, okay, I'm going to stream today. I'm streaming all day. Okay, I check my numbers. Okay, I'm streaming again. I'm just going to keep streaming. I'm going to keep streaming. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And you just become this thing that is meeting your obligations, and you're not willing to accept defeat. You can still be defeated, but you're going to be on your feet, ready to go when that defeat comes. And a lot of times you scare it off, and you wind up overcoming and going and developing yourself far further than you ever thought you could. The most negative experiences of my life were the most transformative. And that is the powerful secret of this life, is that when you're handed these negative circumstances, it seems like the world's out to get you, you're miserable, it's this and that, that is when you go right down to the bedrock of who you are and decide what you're going to do. Are you going to rise up? Are you going to stand up? Are you going to face it down and overcome? Or are you just going to half-hearted fail and not learn any of the lessons and not transform yourself? You can't take your money with you. Asmon, with this guy's looking down on Asmon. He's looking down at his dental hygiene. He's looking down at his environment. He's like passive aggressive about his level of success because he has to admit that he's successful. That's the one thing he can't get away with. He can't be like, well, he's not very successful. He can't say that. He's of the lower character. This young man, youngish, he looks like he's about 30 or in his mid-30s. This man has not had enough hardship. Asmongold has had hardship. He's lived in poverty. He has had the teeth rotten out of his head. He's had the crazy mom. He's lost his parents. He's had his father die. This guy's been through some real shit. He's pulled himself out of poverty to become the #1 streamer. Do you understand the force of will that takes? Whether he doesn't have a great physical presence, but the force of this man's will alone, the result of his success alone, speaks to his level of acumen, speaks to his level of personal development, versus this guy who's had every advantage, everything thrown at him in life, and does not understand what it is to truly suffer, to truly be poor, to truly overcome adversity at that level. He's not even close to Asmongold in terms of personal development. And that's the only thing you really own. Everything else can be taken from you, including your life and your health. Let's listen more.
But in order for it's a fantasy that a lot of people have, that they can edit out all of the negatives in their lives and then the positives remain the same. I think that oftentimes the same fire that melts butter can also forge steel. And in negative experiences that people have, oftentimes those negative experiences help make them into a stronger person better than positive experiences.
Failure is far more instructive than success. In fact, success creates the assumption of success. And it doesn't prepare you for failure. It doesn't prepare you to overcome when things go sideways. Success just says, keep on going, you're a success. And just remember, when within that success, what are you within that success? Life will throw you a bone once in a while. Life will throw you some luck. Sometimes life will put you in the right time at the right place, and things just go your way, or you're born attractive and things just go your way, and it's just sometimes it's easy for you and you don't understand why, but it just is. And that's wonderful. That doesn't prepare you for anything. Nothing teaches you harder than failure. That's why they used to be so much harder on us when we were younger, back in the earlier generations, like Gen X, boomers and stuff like that. We came up a lot tougher, with a lot more toughening than a lot of the people coming up today, like this guy. This guy did not have it tough. This guy's soft. And he's complaining because he sees Asmond as soft. Asmond is not soft. That is a ruthless businessman. That is a ruthless streamer. That is a professional, driven person. That is the number one performer in his niche. He is number one. He's the best. And to be the best, you are at the game all the time. And this guy is coming on here with his white headset, looking like he was genetically engineered to live in the suburbs. Okay? And I'm just like, you have no idea what it is to be a caregiver for somebody who's ill and who has mental problems, or is going into dementia, or it's just, you have no idea what some of the harshness of life. You've been shielded from the harshness, the true harshness of life. And you are not fit to stand amongst men like me and Asmongold, who have dealt with real life challenges, have overcome them, and still wound up being successful. Challenges that would have probably crushed this guy. Some of the challenges that Asmond has vocalized and that I have experienced would crush lesser people. They would just run from their responsibilities and obligations. They would go to a different state, change their name, and just run away from it. They wouldn't face it down. They wouldn't take the hand that they were dealt and build it into a career, or build it into a fortune, or an empire, or to become the number one dominant player in his game. My store one year, it was one of the proudest moments of my life. We have a thing called Tampa Bay Favorites here, and it's a magazine, and they do like surveys, and they pick the favorite businesses, local businesses, and all businesses are eligible, but small businesses are as eligible as any other business. So one year I won the Tampa Bay Favorites for pet stores. That was the business I ran. I ran a pet store. I was a single location, one-man show. And I won the bronze, third place, right under PetSmart, the largest national pet store chain. Animal House, which was at the time, 6 or 7 location. It was the largest regional chain. And then I was number 3 with my single location. Like, my customers voted me in to the top 3. One was a national chain, the other was the number 1 regional chain, and then me. It was like they walked in and they awarded it to me, and I was like, just like, just struck dumb. I was like, what? I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was featured in the paper, and it was like, it was a huge deal. And I was blown away by that, because all my efforts, all my work, all my competitive and guerrilla marketing and all the stuff I did, I was just a one-man show, and I went up against the two biggest players in the market and won as a single location store. One of the proudest moments of my life. Couldn't believe it. When they presented me with the plaque and they took photos and they featured me in an article, and it was just like, it was like, wow. When it hits you, like the reality hits you. But I came up from nothing. I came up from like working class folk to that level. And I understand what that takes. I understand the will, that the dedication, the obligation, the never just facing it down every day. And it's like, this guy has never been through something like that, and he resents it because everything's been handed to him. It's just been success in life, but life has never handed him the gift, and he would consider himself lucky. That's why he looks at somebody like Asmongold, and he's like, why am I not famous like him? Why am I a multimillionaire like him? Because you're not him. You haven't been through the fire like he's been. You haven't been transformed into steel. You're still base metal, bro. You haven't been honed through the fire. You haven't been given the gift of failure and incredibly difficult life challenges that if you survive and if you overcome, you will be transformed into a higher state of being, a higher level man. You will become a stoic. You were just inducted into the stoic philosophy, whether you know it or not. Asmongold is a stoic, and he's almost a stoic philosopher, if you want to be honest. I would consider Asmongold a stoic philosopher. That's why a lot of what he does is so powerful. Let's keep going.
So that's the reason why I talked about it the way that I did, and I'm so open about it. It's because I want to normalize being able to discuss these kinds of things and being honest and direct about who you are, where you came from, and not living based off of a perception of other people. Not basing your self-worth around the way that you look. Not basing your self-worth around the way that people approve of you or anything else. I think that there are a lot of people that have made huge mistakes in their life.
See, and I will say this, because I know I had the aptitude, but I came from working class people, couldn't send me to a good college. My test scores were excellent. My IQ is high. I could have gone to some of the best schools, and I just didn't have the background or the support enough to put me there. And I went in my own direction, and I'm so glad that I did. And I see what's become of our colleges. I see, and when I went to college, I went to night school. I worked full time as a marketing manager, and I went to school at night 2 nights a week. And I got an undergrad degree that way, and I got a graduate degree that way, an MBA. So I worked about 60 hours a week and went to night school for 6 years. 6+ years, almost 7 years. That would have broke a lot of folk. A lot of folk couldn't even do it. I refused to quit. And I completed, and I was exhausted at the end of that time. I was so burnt out at the end of the graduate degree, because I really would have loved to go on to a PhD. I qualified, I was able to go, and I'm just like, well, I can't do it. I was so burnt out working full time. I worked a ton of hours. I was amazingly productive. I was very successful at my job as well. So not only was I a successful student, I was also very successful at my job. And I eventually got headhunted out of that job by another company for more money. But what I would say is, I'm glad I followed that route. I'm glad I didn't go through the privileged route. Because I understand how empty and vapid it is, and how self-serving it is, and how low character a lot of it is, how low character a lot of these people are. And I'm like, I went to just a regular college. I went to night school, and I got the exact same regionally accredited degree that you'd get from a Harvard or a Stanford or whatever. And you can't tell me, based on what the people they're producing now, that I did anything less, And in fact, I think I probably did far better, because I actually worked and lived in the real world, worked full time, 60 hours a week at least every week, and went to school 2 days a week and had one learning team meeting every week. And I did that for almost 7 years.
And those mistakes were the impetus for them to improve their life. And there were other people who made huge mistakes and then they just died, or their life got worse.
Yep. And that is a possibility. Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you die. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the bad luck continues. Sometimes you take the wrong approach. Sometimes you quit. Sometimes you quit on yourself. Sometimes you turn to drugs and alcohol, et cetera, et cetera. That's the most common. If you can stay away from like smoking, drugs, and alcohol, you can overcome almost anything. You can overcome almost anything. But that's what this guy didn't get. He didn't go to night school and work 60 hours a week. He didn't become the caregiver of a very sick mother that needed oxygen and was in like early onset dementia. He didn't come from a broken home. He didn't come from a working class neighborhood. He didn't have the big, great struggle in his life. This is who this guy is. Look at him. Look at his face. You can see it in his eyes. Look at Asmon's eyes. He's got a little bit of world weariness in there. And look at this guy's eyes. He looks like a child. He has the eyes of a child, an angry child. He hasn't had his great struggle. He's trying to have his great struggle by going to war, or by trying to diminish, or trying to what did he say? Like flame war with Asmongold. He's trying. This is the lower rank male competing with the higher rank male to gain recognition, to improve his standing in the hierarchy, and failing miserably at it. He has not had his great struggle. He has not been through the fire. He is not an initiated male. That is what you're looking at there. That is what you're looking at there. You're looking at an uninitiated male who has not had a great struggle, who hasn't done his spirit work, who hasn't gone out into the desert and fasted, for 3 days or whatever. He hasn't done anything like that. He's lived a life where most of the time things are working out for him. And he can't understand why he's not as successful as the guy who's on top. You just have to look at the eyes, the gateway to the soul. Asmon, he's just like, I've seen some things in this world. I've lived through some things in this world. I've been through the fire. And then there's this guy who looks like an angry child.
And ultimately, to a certain extent, I think that's natural selection. And I think that it's important to acknowledge that and to highlight and elevate people who avoided being selected.
Okay. He admits to the natural order of the universe. Everything expresses. Natural law is king. The fittest survive. And a lot of times being the fittest means that you're the most relentless. You have the most endurance. Success, to me, the most important word to success is relentlessness. You are relentless. You work it so hard that the situation can't defeat you. You are the relentless situation. You are what cannot be overcome. Until you get to that point where you're like, this is happening, and I'm feeling like I'm being overcome by this, and it's like it's covering me, and it's a weight upon me. When you decide you're gonna take it, you're gonna put it on like a cloak, and you're gonna wear it around, and you're gonna wear it every day until it disappears, until it wears out. Relentlessness, and I think it was a famous director. He said 80% of success is showing up, but showing up is being relentless. Like when you don't feel like going to the gym, when you're weak, tired, pissed, you're feeling selfish, you're feeling like a baby, you're spoiled, you just want to relax, you want to be nice, you don't want to meet the commitment that you made to yourself, and you get up and you say, F that, and you're miserable and you're pissed and you're weak and you're sore and you go anyway. That is the will that does that. It isn't the body. It's the will. It's the will to say, I don't care. I'm going. I am not going to quit on myself. If you become absolutely relentless, and that's what Asmongold said when he figured out he couldn't pay to fix his teeth. He's like, I will be relentless until I get the money. I am not going to stop. You have to draw the line in the sand with life and say, life, you're giving me this. I'm taking this. I am not going to quit until I get it. And almost every time, not every time, but almost every time, life blinks. If you want to be successful, be relentless.
And I try my best to avoid that myself. So it's just really that simple. I don't know. Yeah, that's why it happened. It's just that simple. I don't know what's wrong with him.
To the point that he would need surgery or to get his teeth fixed.
I have a follow-up appointment this month, by the way.
Look at the doughy face. Look at the soft hands. That's never worked a manual job, like construction or a serious manual job. He's got a doughy face. He's got childish features. He's in his 30s, but he still has like baby fat on his face. This is a guy who's never been tested. He's never been initiated. He's never been through the fire. Everything always works out for him, and he's going online and he's wondering to himself, why am I not more successful? Why isn't life just giving me like what I want? I want to be this and I want to be successful at it. I've never heard of this guy, and he's uninteresting. Like part of Asmon's appeal is his situation and his quirkiness, and again he's got his own uniqueness to him. This guy, he's just like blue background, blue shirt. He's got doughy skin. He's got, he's got chubby cheeks. He's got no gravitas. He's got no gravitas. And I'm not one to talk. I'm not a big success on YouTube either. But a lot of people don't get to be. Most people don't get to be. I do it because it's just it's fun. I like streaming, and I like doing lives, and I've been doing a lot of these reaction videos and I've been enjoying them. And some things kick off and some things don't, and it's like, bro, it sometimes things line up for you and sometimes they don't. I am not a success on YouTube. I still like doing YouTube, so I do it. I'm a success in other areas. Okay.
Wish he didn't have cockroaches and rats infesting his house. And yet
he doesn't, dickhead. He did it one time. He's a financial success, and he has improved his situation.
yes, he might have cleaned it. But to get to the state that
Yes, he might have cleaned it. Okay.
he was in, he has to be so mentally ill.
You're right. I grew up in a house where my mom never really had a job, and we grew up in poverty. And my dad helped me out a bit, and he made sure that the lights stayed on, but that was about it.
He was poor. Do you think like rats in the house is a priority when you're poor? Do you know what's a priority? Is eating on a daily basis. Being able to buy a freaking bar of soap. When you're poor, there's never enough money. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul for basic shit. Okay? My family my grandparents were immigrants. They came to America with nothing. They had no health care. They were poor. They worked hard. They built their life up, and they became extremely successful people. But they threw 30 years at it. They threw their whole life to buy a house and a couple of cars, and that to them that was the greatest level of success. They were incredibly proud that they owned a house and they had 2 vehicles. I mean, this is the reality, man. I mean, it's just like, again, this guy doesn't get it. He's lived, I don't want to even use the Marxism thing, but this guy grew up in the suburbs. He's got his good hair, his chubby skin. He's in his 30s. He's got no gravitas. He looks like every other dude. It's like, bro, you've got nothing to hold on to. Like, to hold my interest, to like watch your content. You're generic looking. I don't know what to tell you. There are a lot of people living in poverty right now that just that eat ramen noodles for dinner and are working their fucking ass off while trying to educate themselves. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, and that's good for them. That's the thing. Be relentless. Go out there and get it. But some people have to throw 10, 20, 30 years to get to any kind of level. And, it's just like, bro, it's all low blows. It's all like low character shit, man.
The reality is that there were massive holes in the house, and my mom wouldn't allow anybody to come out and fix the house because it would be condemned. So it was just bad spawn RNG, really. It was bad spawn RNG. And as I was growing up, obviously, I took almost all of my money and I reinvested it into improving things for her. That was really the other big reason why I started my YouTube channel, is because of her being sick. It's because I couldn't get a traditional job because I had to take care of her all the time.
There you go. The caregiver's dilemma. And I live that fucking dilemma myself. How do you work a full-time job when your full-time job is taking care of a sick parent? How does that happen? You know what I used to do? I used to do, like during the worst of it, where I was her primary caregiver, I would substitute teach for like $9 or $12 an hour. I had a master's degree and I was substitute teaching for $12 an hour because I could go, I could make my own schedule. I could just sign up for jobs when I had the time. I could make a little pocket money to pay for gas and other stuff like that. And then the rest of my time was spent caring for her. The caregiver's dilemma. And this guy is mocking this guy. This guy is mocking Asmongold. This is part of the reason I made this video is because I was in that caregiver's dilemma. Ignoring my own health, ignoring my own prosperity to take care of a dying parent. The thing of it is that some of those dying parents, because you're taking good care of them, live a long, long time, and you have to spend 5 to 10 years sometimes, which was certainly my case, taking care of them, and I took excellent care of her. Even through the COVID epidemic, all through it, I made sure she was cared for. She had, she wasn't exposed to COVID because that would have killed her. She had massive lung problems and she was on oxygen and a concentrator, if you know what that is. And it's no joke. It's no joke. That almost killed me. Being that person's caregiver, the sole caregiver, the only person available at all times. I was on call all the time. It's a 24-hour job. Sometimes because of low oxygen, she'd wake up and have a panic attack, and she would call me up in a delusional state. And I was renting a house across the street from mine. And I would have to run over there and calm her down and take care of her and clean up. And she would get up and wreck shit and, just knock shit over. And I mean, it's like, bro, you have no fucking clue, bro. This guy, look at this guy. He has no effing clue what that even looks like. I don't think he'd even do it. Some people just fucking refuse and walk away. They just move away, or they just move to another state, get a new phone number, and call it good. And they let that person die or go into the hands of the state or whatever. But any care that you have to pay for is outrageously expensive in this country. In the United States, any kind of elder care or elderly care is outrageously expensive. So if you're poor, you can't afford that. You have to do it yourself. And it is brutally difficult. But that is actually what created Asmongold's success.
And as soon as I started making enough money, I immediately started investing it into the house and into improving her living situation. And the reason why her living situation wasn't better at the time that she passed away was because she wouldn't allow I wouldn't allow any contractors to come into the house and fix anything because she refused to get the COVID vaccine. And because she was immunocompromised and any COVID would instantly one-shot her,
yep.
I viewed it to be the lesser of two evils to not take that risk with my mother's life.
See, and I was dealing with the exact same thing. My mother refused the COVID vaccine. She was also had tremendous breathing problems and was immunocompromised. She was on 20 medications. Couldn't even take her outside, really. And so she was almost homebound. And then during the worst of the COVID, I was handling everything for her. And that literally consumes 90% of your time. So you have to find little ways here and there to make money in addition to working a full-time caregiver job that pays nothing. Do you understand what that's like to do that for years? For 5 years. It almost killed me. My health was so bad. I was so exhausted and drained. When that time was over, I was almost dead. I literally went to a doctor and he's like, you got 6 months. Again, that was 3 years ago. She passed. And again, it's like one of the most like weirdest mixed blessings, because her pain was over. It freed, it freed me from the obligation and the responsibility, but it also left me incredibly lonely in the world. If you've not been through things like this, you should not be standing in judgment of that person like this person is. This person who's had everything in his life come easy to him. He has not been tested. He has not been tried. He has not been given the great struggle of his life. He hasn't been through the fire. He hasn't been initiated. He is not worthy to speak on these topics or to address somebody like Asmongold in the way he's addressing him, or anybody else. He should shut his freaking pie hole, raise his kids, and he should find something to do that is actually something to test his mettle and to become a fully realized man. It's like when you come back from war and they refer to you as blooded. Like you've been in combat, you've had to fight for your life, you've been victorious, you are now a blooded soldier, and you are of a higher order. This guy is in a lesser order. He is an inductee. He is a private. He is a grunt. He is of a lower development status as a man. He is a lesser man. He has not been initiated. He hasn't been through his great challenge or his great struggle, and he needs to be quiet.
And that's the reason why I did it. It's actually very simple. I don't take pride living in garbage or not. It's simply something that I don't care about. So it's just like every decision that I've made was not like, again, and also like I'm sure I've made mistakes in my life or something like that, but that's the actual truth of what it was.
I feel sorry for the guy. I am not jealous of Asmongold.
You are jealous of his success. You do not feel sorry for somebody that you call disgusting, whose teeth is rotting out of his head, who lives in garbage. This is passive aggressive. It's female coded. Look at the look on his face. Look at the look on his face. Look at his soft, doughy hands. That, again, have you ever had your hands where they were actually like full of calluses? Like all of your hands were full of calluses? I have. I remember I had a buddy remark, he took a look at my hands and he goes, your hands are full of calluses. He goes, that's this, and he said it in an admirable way. He says, that is the sign of a real working man. This guy has not had any kind of struggle. He is a Peter Pan. He is a boy in a man's body. He is soft. He is doughy. He has not been initiated. He has not been through his great struggle. He has not passed through the fire. He is not steel. He is base metal. And I'm not going to be able to listen to too much more of this.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
This is the most patronizing.
He's got a high, squeaky, like boyish voice. He doesn't have the voice of a man. He has no gravel in his voice. He has no gravitas in his speaking voice.
That I've made was not like, again, and also like I'm sure I've made mistakes.
I hate
in my
listening
life or
to
something
men
like
like
that,
this
but
speak, because they have this high, squeaky voice without any kind of depth or tone, and it's just like, hey, I really feel sorry for Asmongold, and if he wasn't living in filth, he's a multimillionaire. And it's like, bro, you have no gravitas. You need to smoke cigars, or you need to like do something. You know, go out into the world and do some work.
That's the actual truth of what it was.
The last thing this guy needs to do is to be more online and to be a streamer. This guy needs to go work construction for a year. This guy needs to break his finger with a hammer. You know what I mean? I mean, this guy needs toughening up. This guy.
I feel sorry for the guy. I am not jealous of Asmongold. I hope that he can get...
I'm not jealous of Asmongold. He talks like a woman.
help.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
This is the most patronizing, obnoxious, pretentious, like annoying thing that you can possibly say.
It's passive aggressive, like females that talk about each other. Well, I don't hate her, but, you know, she dresses like a whore. She makes herself too available to men. You know, it's just, it's like I'm listening to a female speak.
Oh my God.
You know,
No
I think you have a
gravitas.
brain. If it doesn't make sense, then I think we're going to be lost
brain.
no matter what.
Yeah.
But the amount of comments in here that are either defending the guy or
Yeah.
calling me a loser.
Well, you are. I mean, you are a loser.
You are a loser.
You're a loser. You failed as a YouTube creator. And
Thank you.
also, like, I mean, you're not a loser entirely. You have a...
This is the guy who is the #1 performer in the thing that you're doing. And he's looking at you, he's looking down upon you and your ridiculous critique of him, and he's calling you a loser, and he's absolutely correct. You are a loser. You are trying to, again, you are a lower status primate going up to the top of the tree and making fun and throwing shit, hoping that the females will notice you, hoping to gain some status on the tree. You're a climber, dude, and you suck. You don't have any gravitas. Your voice is high pitched like a female. You need to smoke cigars or something. And drop that, get that tone drop down. You're doughy. You're doughy. You've never had any serious physical challenges. You've never had any serious life challenges. You're a suburb kid. You know, you need to go get initiated into manhood.
A wife and you have a kid, and I think that's incredible. I don't have a wife and a kid, and so I'm a loser in that regard. But as a creator, you are a loser. You're a failure. And I can show you how you're...
So am I, by the way. I still do it because I enjoy it.
failure. So if you look at his graph that we looked at earlier, whenever your submarine graph looks like a submarine, whenever your subscriber graph looks like a submarine, that means that you're losing. That's the way it is. And that, listen, I mean, like you have up times and down times. Like that's the way it is. But you've clearly failed as a creator.
This guy's a fucking loser. This guy is going nowhere. This guy is pissed and jealous that somebody who isn't that isn't him, and it's really a class thing with this guy. It's really like, hey, I'm a suburban white guy with a wife and a kid. Why is this like incel, loser, dirty, toothless, you know, roach infested, you know, guy crushing me? Because he's intelligent, he's relentless, he's interesting, he has gravitas, he's been through life's difficult challenges, and it's compelling. It's compelling content. You are a squeaky voiced douchebag.
I mean, it's just objective. Like, I mean, there's no like, it's not like it's a secret, okay? Great timing with Subnautica. Yeah, we're gonna play Subnautica 2 later on today. I'm excited. I got the game down. I got there's a little bundle. I was able to get the first game too at the same time.
A little bundle.
Frightening, because I know that these are the people that I'm worried about.
I'm frightened. Oh my God, it's so patronizing.
He's narrow chested too. And this guy's going into his 30s here. Now you can see a little bit more of the face where he's doughy faced, but he's aging. So he's kind of losing the boyish looks. The boyish charm isn't working. It's not helping him maintain his subscriber base because the aging boyish guy from the suburbs isn't getting the subs, bro. My channel's growing slowly. But, and that reminds me, slice that like button, by the way, if you're still with us.
Slice that like button.
This guy is going nowhere. He's the average suburban white guy. He's got nothing interesting to say. He's never been through the fire. He's never had to, like care for a dying parent. He's never had to overcome poverty. Like real poverty. This guy's never lived in poverty, and I'm not all about that privilege and this, that, and the other, but there is a certain thing, like when you grow up in the suburbs and you've always had enough food, you go to the fridge and it's like, oh man, what snack am I going to have? It's like, that you've never had to struggle. You've never had to dig up pocket money to maybe go get like a burrito at the 7-Eleven as your dinner. You know what I mean? You've never had to work 2 jobs. You've never, and this guy's trying to become a YouTube personality. It's dead. Your dream is dead. And he's facing, this is his blast into the universe about his frustration. Like, I have been through the fire. I have overcome adversity. I have achieved success that's like above average success, not a tremendous, not like an Asmongold success, but in my life I've achieved a certain level of success, and it's like this guy has not, and he's gonna wind up with a regular job doing regular shit and bitching about how come this like guy missing a tooth, who lives in this rat infested house, which is no longer rat-infested. He's took care of it. He got it fumigated, or he got it sealed up, and it's taken care of, man. The guy lives as he wants to live. The guy's doing it as he wants to do it. You can resent him all day long and bitch and about what happened. What happened with Asmongold? He didn't spend his day bitching about other people's success, and he was on the grind, and he was relentless every single day. And I can tell you one thing, young man, you don't have that. You don't have that thing that makes people successful and to become famous by their own hand. You don't have it. You don't have it. And you're going to come out here and blow your wad and bitch and moan about this other creator and shake your fist at the air and like, how is it that I don't get everything that I want because I'm this kid that was raised up in the suburbs. I've never been tested. I've never been through the fire. I've never had to care for a dying parent. I never had to sit next to my parents' bed while they died. I've never been handed a massive failure. You're about to get handed a massive failure. But you're not, again, the one thing that life is giving this guy, and he doesn't see it that way. He's missing the whole point. His failure at YouTube is the gift. That is the miracle that he's missing. He's missing his own miracle. This failure is the wake-up call. This failure is you need to go get initiated. You need to go to the gym. You need to go through the fire. You need to figure out what you need to do to get initiated into manhood. You need to go have your great struggle and become transformed. He's avoiding it. He's Peter Pan. He's this aging Peter Pan, doughy-faced, soft voice, girly voice, high-pitched voice, soft hands that don't look like they've ever like worked construction a day in his life or built anything with his hands. He just looks soft, and he looks generic, and he doesn't have any edge to him at all. There's nothing. Look at his face. There's no edge to it. It's all rounded. Everything's rounded on this guy. And he's wearing this headset as almost like a prop. It doesn't even look natural on his head. I mean, again, he's been given a failure. That is a gift. I've been given a failure on this channel, and I kind of turned it around a little bit. It is growing. I just hit 1,600. Thank you. It is growing. The channel is growing. My last couple of shorts did really good. But you know, it's like I'm an average dude doing average shit. You know, it is what it is. But this particular subject, I think Asmongold went into his personal life, and the whole message is you can use failure more effectively than success. The guy down below has been successful so much in his life without even trying. He doesn't recognize that this failure is not a bad thing. It's a gift to go and get transformed and find that special something that he does not have to be successful in this area. He does not have the edge. He does not have the relentlessness. He does not have the focus that an Asmongold has to stay on the grind, to rise above the negative, and to get into that groove and to just absolutely refuse to fail. And you got to have that special something, that special chemistry, that special sauce of there's something about, like, Asmongold has this weird combination of attributes that make his content compelling with almost no production.
So pretentious. You're so obnoxious. No wonder nobody watches you. Why would anybody like you? You're so annoying. Like, you're worried about these people? Why would you even talk? Why are you talking like this? Like, it's so embarrassing. It's smug. Yes. Wow.
It is.
How
it's
sad.
Low character. It's low character because he's a spoiled brat. He's had too much go right. He's had too much base level successes. He hasn't had any adversity, and he hasn't had to overcome that adversity and burn away the baby fat and become a grown man. He's a spoiled baby who's failing on YouTube, and he's railing against Asmongold for being successful when he sees himself as far more successful in other areas. Right? Because of the good fortune of how he was born. Most of this, this is this guy's problem. Most of this guy's success up to this point is just a matter of his upbringing. Like, he was just married to, or he was born into, you know, a suburban lifestyle. He's soft. He hasn't had to hit any major challenges in the world or in life, and now he arrives here and he's going head to head with one of the most relentless streamers on the internet, the #1 top performer. And again, you have to be a little autistic. You have to be on the right side of that bell curve. You have to have sometimes a weird combination of attributes and circumstances to achieve that. And all this guy has had is had everything provided to him relatively easily, and when he has to compete with somebody who's been through the fire, who's been tested and transformed, he can't do it, and he just winds up being a spoiled brat. And it's fucking sad, and he's doomed, and he's going nowhere. And what he needs to do is he needs to go out and become a man, become an initiated male. This is an uninitiated male. He does not deserve to be in the association with Asmongold or me or any real man or adult, man or woman, any real adult who's been through the fire of difficult life experiences and survived them and overcome them. He has not been through any of that. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with quote-unquote financial privilege. There are some extremely wealthy people that go through crazy difficult experiences and become that higher character, that initiated male or female.
These are the people that I know have been affected by this.
Oh God, he's doing the. Oh God. Oh.
He's very feminine in his mannerisms too. I'm gonna kill it here because I can't stand to watch this guy anymore. His voice especially is grating to me because of how boyish and feminine it sounds to me. I'm just going to kill it here. But I think I've communicated what the important message that Asmongold propounded in this video is, that failure and challenges and sometimes devastating circumstances in your life can be the most instructive and transformative versus unending or continued successes. Continued successes weaken you. Extremely difficult circumstances transform you. They don't just strengthen you. You are transformed into a higher dimension. You are transformed into a higher level of being. And without those challenging circumstances, you remain uninitiated. You remain at that lower level. Unless you seek out something that is going to test you and challenge you and force you to rise above it, to force you to abandon childish ways and childish thinking. This is a childish Peter Pan man who has never been through any serious life challenges or struggles, and it absolutely shows. And he's aging into his 30s, and he's not an initiated male in his 30s, and it is sad. Learn the lessons of the Stoics. Amor fati, love your fate. Sprout where you're planted. Be a good slave. Be a good workman. Be a good wherever you're placed, be good at it. And then mementomori, remember death. One day you will die. And you do not know the day or the hour that it shall come upon you. So kiss your wife, kiss your kids, chase that dream, go have that experience, take that trip, whatever that you're going to do, make time for it, because your time is temporary and limited. Spend it wisely. This is LVO Toro, the Fancy Action Now for the gamer. Thank you, Asmongold, for this insight into the power of difficulties, struggles, and challenges, and that relentlessness is the ultimate ingredient for success. Station identification on the way out.
Show them some
we
fancy
are going to
action
call
now.
that one mission complete.
Mission complete.